Grandfather paradox. If you use a time machine to stop your grandparents from meeting, you might prevent your own birth. But if you were never born, how could you have used the time machine in the first place? Achilles and the tortoise. Achilles, a fast runner, gives a tortoise a head start in a race. The paradox says Achilles will never pass the tortoise because every time Achilles reaches where the tortoise was, the tortoise has moved a little. It keeps going like this forever, making it seem like Achilles can't catch up. Ship of Theseus. You have a ship and you replace all its parts. Is it still the same ship? If you use the old parts to build another ship, which one is the original? Sorites paradox. You have a heap of sand. If you remove one grain at a time, when does it stop being a heap? Barbershop paradox. In a town, the rule is the barber shaves those who don't shave themselves. But who shaves the barber? If he shaves himself, it breaks the rule. If he doesn't, he should be shaved according to the rule. Catch-22 paradox. Needing something you can only have if you don't need it. For example, a pilot can avoid dangerous flights if he's insane, but asking not to fly shows he's sane. Fermi paradox. If the universe is infinite, why haven't we seen any aliens? Opposite day paradox. If I say that it's opposite day, is it? Simpson's paradox. It occurs when a trend appears in different groups of data, but disappears or reverses when the group are combined. This shows that the overall conclusion can be opposite to the conclusions drawn from individual subgroups. Tolerance paradox. Unlimited tolerance can make tolerance disappear, as it allows too much intolerance. For a tolerant society to survive, it must not tolerate intolerance. Bootstrap paradox. If a time traveler gives a young Einstein a book with the theory of relativity, and Einstein publishes it as his own, who's the original author? Stockdale paradox. Believing you will soon succeed decreases your chances of succeeding. Meanwhile, maintaining a belief that you will succeed one day increases your chance of succeeding. Jevons paradox. Technological improvements that increase the efficiency of resource use tend to cause an overall increase in resource consumption because people like the product more. Olbers's paradox. Why is the sky dark if there are a vast number of stars in the universe? Paradox of thrift. Saving more money individually is generally a good thing, but it can lead to economic problems for everyone as it could cause reduced consumption and economic growth. Unexpected hanging paradox. A condemned prisoner is told he'll be hanged on a weekday next week, but the execution will surprise him. As the week progresses, he reasons that Friday is the latest possible day for the hanging, since it would still be a surprise on Thursday. But if it hasn't happened by Thursday night, Friday is no longer a surprise. He concludes it must occur on Thursday, yet that would also be expected. Value paradox. Essential things, like water, are cheaper despite being crucial, while non-essentials, like diamonds, are more expensive. Pinocchio paradox. If Pinocchio says, "My nose will grow," it creates a logical dilemma. If it's true, his nose should grow, but then he's lying. If it's false, his nose shouldn't grow, but then he's telling the truth. Hedonism paradox. The more directly one seeks pleasure or happiness, the less likely they are to achieve it. Crocodile paradox. A crocodile steals a child and promises its return if the parent correctly predicts what the crocodile will do. If the parent says the child won't be returned and the crocodile agrees, a paradox arises. If the crocodile returns the child, it contradicts its promise. If it doesn't return the child, it also contradicts the agreement. Sword and shield paradox. What happens when a sword sharp enough to cut any shield meets a shield strong enough to block any blade? Dichotomy paradox. Imagine walking towards a destination. To reach it, you'd first have to walk halfway there, and to walk halfway there, you'd first have to walk a quarter of the way there, and so on, creating an infinite amount of steps and causing you to not be able to reach your destination. Fletcher paradox. Though it seems an arrow in motion is continuously changing its position, the paradox argues that at any instant, it can't move to where it isn't, or where it is, making it stationary. Since time consists of these instants, this paradox suggests the arrow is stationary the entire time. Grand Hotel paradox. In an infinitely big hotel with infinitely many rooms, even if all rooms are occupied, the hotel can still accommodate more guests. In order to accommodate you, the hotel could, hypothetically, move the guest from room 1 to room 2. This would move every guest from their current room to a new room, which is possible since there's an infinite number of rooms. Card paradox. What's true if a card has the phrase, "The sentence on the other side of this card is true" on the front side, and the phrase, "The sentence on the other side of this card is false" on the back side? Liar paradox. Imagine that someone says, "I'm lying." If the liar is indeed lying, then the liar is telling the truth, which means that he just lied about lying. Grain of millet paradox. When a grain of millet falls, it makes no sound, but when 1,000 grains fall, they do, thus many of nothing become something. The truth is that it does make a sound. It's just that it's so inaudible that we don't perceive it. Boltzmann brain. It might be more likely for a single brain to spontaneously form in a void, complete with a memory of having existed in our universe, rather than for the entire universe to come about. Paradox of enrichment. Increasing the food available to an ecosystem may lead to instability and even to extinction. Service recovery paradox. Successfully fixing a problem with a defective product may lead to higher consumer satisfaction than in the case where no problem occurred at all. Stability-instability paradox. When two countries each have nuclear weapons, the probability of a direct war between them greatly decreases, but the probability of minor or indirect conflicts between them increases. Ironic process theory. Ironic processing is the psychological process whereby an individual's deliberate attempts to suppress or avoid certain thoughts renders those thoughts more persistent. Paradox of choice. It's the theory that eliminating consumer choices can be beneficial because it greatly reduces anxiety for shoppers. Birthday paradox. To have a 100% probability of at least 2 people in a group having the same birthday, you'd need 366 people. To have a 50% probability, however, you'd need just 23 people. Schrödinger's cat. In quantum theory, a particle can be in multiple states simultaneously when not observed. This state is called superposition. When observed, however, the superposition condition collapses, and the particle is randomly in exactly one of those states. Let's hypothetically say that we put a machine that releases poison only when the particle is in the A state in a box, and that we also put a cat in it. Until observed, the machine would simultaneously release the poison and not release the poison. This means that, until observed, the cat would be both alive and dead. This would obviously work only if we don't consider the cat or the machine as observers. Twin paradox. According to Einstein, the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. If your identical twin became an astronaut and went on a spaceship that traveled at the speed of light, you'd be some years older than him when he returned. Friendship paradox. On average, your friends tend to have more friends than you do. This happens because people who are social and have more friends are more likely to be your friends. Raven paradox. If you wanted to confirm that all ravens are black, finding a black raven supports your claim. But the paradox suggests that also finding something that is not a raven and not black, such as a green apple, supports your claim. Temperature paradox. If the temperature is 90 and the temperature is rising, is 90 rising? Interesting number paradox. There can't be a smallest uninteresting number as if it's the first uninteresting one. It becomes interesting for that fact. It naturally follows that every single number is interesting. Irresistible force paradox. What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Lottery paradox. If there is one winning ticket in a large lottery, it is reasonable to believe of any particular lottery ticket that it is not the winning ticket, but it is not reasonable to believe that no lottery ticket will win. Preparedness paradox. After preparing to avoid a catastrophe and lessening the damage, the perception regarding the catastrophe would be much less serious due to the limited damage caused after. Shout out to these guys who are the first 2 patrons that support my channel. You can end up on this list as well. Check out the link in the description.